Hello and welcome to the show. We're back on Forza Horizon 4 building another vehicle to take on our rally course. It was supposed to be the Crown Vic today, however, I don't have one. I also can't get one. I've looked on the auction house quite a few times, not been one for sale. I haven't won one from a wheel spin, so I can't use it. Instead, we are going with the second most requested vehicle, the Volkswagen, the Type 2, or the party bus, as I like to call it. And I expected it not to be particularly fast. However, you never know, really. You know, I doubt this is somehow going to beat the Mustang Boss. Let's face it. I don't think the party bus is going to beat the Mustang. However, engine-wise, what have we got as options? Flat 4 turbo, 2.5 litre flat 4 turbo, turbo rally, 4 litre flat 6. That might get us plenty of power, which is good. We will, of course, make the vehicle all-wheel drive, as is required. We will stick on all the handling bits and pieces that we are going to need, because, well, it's probably going to need as much of this as possible. Let's be honest. Actually lighter than I thought it was going to be. You know, £2,300 isn't actually all that terrible, despite it being like a fairly large vehicle. I guess it's made of paper in a few places, so... It's okay. Let's stick on those all-important rally compound tyres. We will make some very big tyres. 255s are actually not awful. They're not the smallest tyre we've had on a vehicle, which is, you know, very nice to see. PI has barely moved from D-Class, although that will change as we inevitably stick the engine swap in. You can save some weight with that, so let's do it. And then we go for our big engine swap. Yeah, it's going to have to be the 4 litre flat 6 up at about 500 horsepower to start with. We will make it considerably more powerful than that. It does make the vehicle slightly heavier, but we need the power, let's be honest. The flat 4 turbo rally engine is pretty good. It's not a bad choice of engine. You can get a lot of torque out of that as well, but this will probably give us a little bit, hopefully, a lot bit more power overall. And there we go, you're at 800 horsepower near enough. Actually, let's stick the turbos on, because that might be... There we go. So we are over... We actually get this into S2 class if you want. We are up at 880 horsepower, which is a nice amount of power to have in a party bus. Yeah, we're going to want to do... Ooh, it's not going to have a nice little jump down in PI. Sure, we'll go with that, and then we will flywheel in. We might get that in. Sometimes you can sneak this in, because it increases the weight as well as the power. Sure, if we go for that, that gives us 2 PI to work with, which we can find in here. And then our vehicle is ready. Our vehicle is going to be ready. Are you going to be annoying and be 1 PI short? I think you are. Fantastic stuff. Not allowed to change the wheels, as is the rules with this series. No car has, and no car will be going forward. So we are going to be annoyingly 1 PI short, but you know, we're going to have quite a lot of power, not too much weight. Control is perhaps the bigger issue with this, not going to lie. Not sure we're going to have much at all in the way of control. However, going to give it a good shot. So, here we are on the start line with our Volkswagen. I'm going to get 3 runs through this course with the vehicle to try and go as fast as possible. Our target is a 156.7. Honestly, if I can get this vehicle, though, below 2 minutes, I think I will be doing pretty damn well, because let's be honest, I'm not expecting this to be amazing. It will probably have the acceleration to keep up with some of the faster vehicles, having a decent amount of power and not too much weight. However, it is through the corners where I suspect the party bus might have some issues. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. It's actually not a terrible start either through here, which is nice. We're going to run a smidge wide. Oh, get away with that. Just, but we do make that one work. Yeah, okay, it's not as terrible. As I said, the tyres aren't actually as small as I feared we were going to end up. 255s aren't exactly large, but they are going to give it at least some sort of grip. Some of these kind of classic sports cars are stuck with considerably worse. All-wheel drive is always going to be nice in the sand. Ooh, we're going to mess up that section entirely. How are we going to do with the change of directions? These very low speed technical change directions. Not drastically worse than anything else I've driven through here, which is nice. Actually not too bad either for kind of stringing all the corners together. That's a little bit wobbly on the exit. That's a big bounce. A place I did not want to have a big bounce. Acceleration wise, I mean, we're up to almost 100 miles an hour despite being almost entirely out of control heading onto that straight. So I think we've got some half decent top speed. What can we do around here? This is where the Mustang Boss, for example, was very fast. The Party Bus, not quite so much. That's not quite so fast around there. Got a big slide on the way in. However, we still get some speed through the section. However, yeah, nowhere near up there with the likes of the Boss, with the likes of the VX220. Again, not expecting it to be, but well, you never know. It's not quite going to have that level of grip. Around the hairpin, we head up towards the big jump now. The rather high nature of this car does give me some concerns for the landings here. It does not bobble around, which is good, and now we accelerate away, take out some furniture on the run to the finish line. 2:04, not the best first run. I have to say, actually, it did feel a little faster. There's definitely some more time to be found with that vehicle. Whether I can go that sub 2 minute, I don't know. However, there's definitely some more time to be found. We head on to the second run with our vehicle, looking for some 4 seconds. I'll be honest, I'm not actually sure where I'm going to find the time. With cars like the Morgan three-wheeler, cars like the MG in some ways, you can kind of feel where they were losing time. This does not actually feel all that awful. It does not feel all that terrible through the corners. I think perhaps... Okay, we certainly lost some time going on to the back straight. I know there's a little bit of time to be made up there. But through these actual corners, it isn't all that awful. So where are we potentially losing time? It might be that we are, like here, for example, just mid-corner speed. It's unlikely to rival the likes of the Boss. But, as I said, it doesn't actually feel all that awful to drive. I am surprised. I expected this to be horrible. I'm not going to lie. When this was the second most requested car, I was expecting this to be an absolute horrible thing to drive. It is not the case. It is perhaps a teensy bit understeery there, for example, and that's understeery in comparison to the other vehicles that have run very quickly down here. That's trouble for me there. We've got it throwing it around. I think actually what might not help it either. This has been a little bit of a scruffier run through here. High ride height, where there's a lot of high suspension and just general high centre of mass. There's a lot of bumpy bits of terrain, and especially down the slalom towards the end of the course, you kind of use the banking to help move the vehicle about. The problem is that transfers the weight around a lot in this, and there's a lot of weight high up that is not particularly pleasant to have to deal with. That probably doesn't help matters all that much either as we head out onto the beach. Can we get through here this time a little better? Nicely does it there. Now we can just focus on running up the hill. Got to get a little bit early on the brakes. When you get those good runs, the bumps down there are horrible. If you're trying to be brave on the brakes, this isn't too bad at getting stopped, but if you try and be brave on the brakes, you hit the bumps at 100 miles an hour, and that launches you towards the castle, which is not quite where you want to be going. We will run out of the hairpin nicely up towards the final jump of the course. That's not ideal for the Party Bus. We do get it down, and now we fit it through the archway, but only just. Run to the finish line. It is slightly better. Ooh, it's going to be close. When the 2 minutes were at the target, we got, well, 2.9 seconds to find. Again, there was some scruffiness in there. It might just be doable, but we need a damn good run if we are going to make it happen. Well, I have got one more attempt to try and find just under 3 seconds through this course. I don't know how much I can find. We're going to give it a damn good try. Neat and tidy is going to be the order of the day here. Try and keep everything under control. Try and not wander too much. Well, like that, really. Just about got away with that. Kind of straighten up and accelerate towards this next corner. Yeah, I think we're going to have to try and be neat and tidy. We don't want to really waste too much time sliding around, but likewise, it's easy to massively overdrive the car, and then it's easy to be too cautious. It can go both ways, especially when you're on that final run, trying to find some time. We haven't slid it too much through there. Find some acceleration somewhere. Eventually, we get the vehicle moving. That's maybe a smidge wide, although we do straighten up for the kind of, say, exit of that corner. Everything through there sort of just flows together into one, well, kind of one interesting little turn. Let's get you stopped, get you change of direction into the fiddly technical bit. We will brush the fence there, that's okay. Little bit wide there, or wider than I would have liked. Again, get the change of direction. Managing to weave it through the fences nicely there, onto the back straight. Use the Porsche power. The one bit where we can really use the Porsche power. It's 107 miles an hour. That's actually very quick. It's one of the faster cars we've had in terms of acceleration, in terms of straight line speed so far. Now onto this very long, almost never-ending left-hander. Get the apex, sort yourself out for the run up the hill. We may have been a little bit too tight on the run up the hill there, so we lost a little bit of speed potentially in that section, although it does mean you're not as bouncy across the bumps. And I am a little concerned about this vehicle in general across the bumps. We've seen what it's done so far. It is nicely done through there, although I think that's the sort of corner where we might be losing a little bit of speed. We just can't change direction well enough. Up to the big jump we go. Are we going to be able to get down onto the ground nicely? We do this time around. Over the crest. Don't lose control of the vehicle through there. Run to the line. I think we did it just. Oh, I think it was very close. That was very, very close indeed. We have got it to a sub 2 minute. 1:59.8 for the camper van. Oh, I did very much think that was going to be considerably worse. You know, naturally you expect it to be fighting away at the bottom, you expect it to be very difficult to drive. I think helped by some decent sized tyres. 255s are not awful around here. Of course you want 345s if you can get them. However, those are not the skinniest, not the nastiest of tyres that you could have to try and deal with. And it had pretty good acceleration. Yeah, through the corners is where it was lacking a little bit. It didn't feel too terrible to drive though, which is certainly nice. Either way, that time, well, put the vehicle in to 8th place. It beats the Volvo 242, it beats the MGB, the Bentley 8 litre. It's only a tenth of a second down on the Dodge Demon. Only a tenth of a second down on the Dodge Demon, which, I mean, that's quite a feat. That's quite a feat for the Volkswagen right there. I mean, we're not all that far. We're, what, 6/10 of a second away from, 7/10 away from the Honda S2000. 8/10 down on the Pagani Zonda. On what is a pretty nasty... It's a pretty nice stage, not really where you can make the most of the camper's acceleration, etc. I think that's fairly good going indeed for the Volkswagen. That, though, is going to be it for this video. If you have requests for what car you'd like to see me run next, please do leave them in the comments. The most liked comments will be the car that I use, provided I have it, provided I can get it, and provided it fits all within the class restrictions for this series. That'll be it from me, though. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.